Yeah, welcome back. Now, to security matters, kidnapping for a ransom has long been a problem in Nigeria, where widespread poverty, despite Nigerians' oil wealth, has pushed the desperate into criminality. Every explanation given to make sense why kidnapping is on the rise has failed the positive check in the eyes of security analysts. To speak to us about the rise of criminality in Nigeria, we've been joined in the studio now by Dr. Lionel Rawlins. He's the Assistant Vice President, Security and Safety at American University of Nigeria. Doc, a very good morning to you.
Should I say Mother Kenya to you?
Dama.
Dama. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You know, I'm proud to be a Kilba man.
You should be.
Yeah, sure.
You know, did you see how exciting this weekend was?
I just wanted to ask you, what's the secret behind your glow? You're glowing this morning.
Because we had a successful weekend. For a security man, when crowds like this or events like this happen and no one gets hurt or no one gets killed or no major incidents, it is a success. I know the crowd was massive and at times out of control, but in the other aspect of it, the people are showing their love for the founder, and that was one of the things that I took away from it. Even though it was crazy, you saw the love that people had for the man.
But were you scared about the way people were running into each other?
I was very, very nervous about, especially at the palace. That to me was the most nerve-wracking and the most dangerous. I mean, even I had to jump in at times to help out. That should be for my officers to do, not me. But there were times it got so bad that I had to lend a hand and just chip in. It was scary there, but the security forces did the best that they could. We all did the best we could, but it could have been done better. But
well, even as we congratulate you guys for a job well done, and even as you still remain basking still in the euphoria of the success of what happened yesterday, some part of the country and some families, on the other hand, were lamenting, you know, the missing, any one of them maybe that might be missing as a result of kidnapping. Now, abduction in Nigeria, particularly Adamawa State, has been on the rise in recent times. But let me get your view before we verge deeply, trying to read in between the lines. What will have been the reason for the rise of a series of abduction we have experienced in recent times?
it's all money. Kidnapping is a business. To the victim, it is a crime, but to the kidnappers, it's a business. And the more you kidnap, the more money you make. It's easier to kidnap someone than to rob a bank or to rob a store or to just rob a truck or a business. So more people are now kidnapping because you make more money. And there was a time when you would kidnap for millions. You don't have to do that anymore. I can kidnap you for 50,000 naira. If I can kidnap 4 people for 50,000 naira, that's 200,000 naira I just made in a week. I can do that in a day as well. And so the big people will pay the big money and the small people pay the small money. So it doesn't really matter who you kidnap today. It's how much money I'm going to make.
But then we used to know kidnapping as a way of revolting in either operation or the government involved. But now it is a different story entirely. How then can we correct the scenario? How then can we tell people to be cautious of their movement in the society today?
Well, you've got to be careful. First of all, don't go out brandishing money and showing how wealthy you are. If you are a wealthy person, you might take certain precautions. Don't go to farm at 4 o'clock in the morning by yourself if you're a wealthy man or your brother or cousin is wealthy, because somebody will pick you up and take you away. It's just a matter of using common sense. Don't travel in these big cars, a Range Rover, and then go into dark places, because that's where they're going to get you. They're not going to come to your house. They do. They're not going to come to your job. Sometimes they do. But they will follow you around and they will know all of your movements. And you'll be surprised that they know you better than you know yourself.
Yeah, if like you said, indeed, they know you better than you know yourself. There are people who have a kind of been so sentimental in visiting recreational areas. You know, every day, Monday to Friday, you see them in a particular spot because that's where they go for recreational activity. To go to catch fun, that's where they go for recess. Are you saying that people shouldn't make a recreational place a permanent place of recess? You know, they should have alternatives of where.
Absolutely. You cannot be predictable. Even when you're driving to work back and forth, you should change up your route, because if somebody's planning to do something to you, kidnap you, you might have gone to the other route. But if you take the same route all day, every day, back and forth, they know your movements and they know how to capture you. If you go to the same recreational area every evening at the same time, you leave at the same time, they know your whereabouts, they know how to capture you. Choose several recreational areas. Tonight you're here, tomorrow you're a different place. They will never know where you are. You have to vary your movements and use common sense when you do so.
Kidnappings didn't just sprout out of nowhere, and we know it is caused by some certain things. Could we also attribute this to politics?
Well, it started politically, you know. Today is ransom for money, but in the beginning, in the early stage of kidnapping, it was politicians who were kidnapping other politicians for different things. I'm a politician, I kidnap you, or not you, but I kidnap your child or brother, and I tell you to step down, don't challenge me, otherwise I will do away with your son, and you will comply with my wishes because you don't want me to harm or hurt your son. And it was not just politicians, but kings and royalty. That's how things started. Today now it's kidnapping for ransom, it could be kidnapping for sex, it could be kidnapping for anything, political means. It could be kidnapping you for human trafficking, to sell. And remember, you are not considered anything other than you're like a cow or a ram to a kidnapper. He doesn't see you as a human. He sees you as a business, something to sell, to make money. So you have to get into the heart and minds of the kidnapper so that he doesn't see you as a business, as a transaction. Otherwise, you mean nothing to him, and that's when torture and rape and all of that comes in.
Well, we've had where people, you know, we can kidnap, you know, their farms, people we kidnap when they went for sporting activities. But there are situations also where you will be driving and you discover that there is a trail, you know, someone trailing you behind. At that particular time, what should be the next move of the person who had a suspicious mindset about someone trailing him?
If you notice you've been trailed by someone, just drive to a police station if you know where a police station is. If you're not close to a police station or you don't know where it is, drive to a place that's crowded with people, because they'll just go straight and bypass you. By the way, if you're ever being kidnapped, always try to create a scene. Don't go that easily, if you can. Now, if you're on the farm at 4 o'clock in the morning, there's no one there. But if you are a recreational area and someone is kidnapping you, scream, shout, cause a distraction, create a scene, because then the kidnappers might run away and leave you alone, because they don't want to get caught. If, however, you get caught and they take you in the car with them, then try to relax. Pay attention to things like the sounds, horns. Are you hearing a plane? Are you hearing a boat? Are you hearing a train? Are you hearing the highway? Things like that. You have to listen.
That's when you are blindfolded, right?
If you're blindfolded or thrown into the boot. If you're into the boot of a car, try to punch out the lights of the rear lights of the car, and then stick your hand out and try to wave to people. By the way, inside of the boot of every car, there is a switch in there. It's called emergency escape switch. people don't know it exists.
A lot of people don't know that, and I bet
You can just open it, and the boot will open up, and you can either jump out or wave and please help me and scream. And it is glow in the dark, and you can look at any car that was made after 2001
And that's what I'm
has
talking
it in there. But many people don't know it's there, and that's one of the purposes of it being there.
Most individuals really engage in kidnapping as a means of survival for some, while for others we will see it as business. But how would you define this when a society is suffering from poverty?
Well, poverty, unemployment are the biggest drivers of kidnapping. If there is unemployment, high unemployment, if there is high unemployment leads to poverty. They both go hand in hand. Those are the main drivers of kidnapping, because remember I said it's a business. So a poor boy can become a rich man in 6 months just by kidnapping people. And this is why, you know, Nigeria has got to enhance its unemployment. You have to give young people work, young people job, otherwise it's not going to stop, it's not going to end. You know, Nigeria is the fifth capital of kidnapping in the world, behind Mexico, India, Pakistan, and Iraq. Nigeria is number 5.
If Nigeria is number 5, that's on kidnapping now. What about terrorism and other forms of criminality?
Well, terrorism, again, you know, the terrorist doesn't think he's a criminal. The terrorist thinks he's a freedom fighter. He thinks he's fighting for a cause and a purpose and a reason. He does not think that what he's doing is criminal in nature. He thinks it's just, and he's justifying it. Psychologically, in his mind, I'm doing the right thing. But for the criminal, he doesn't care, and he's using criminal activities to justify his righteous cause. But he doesn't think it's criminal in nature.
Let me have you speak to us about some of the safety measures we need to put in check in order to avoid or address some of the problems of kidnapping.
Well, the first thing I want people to know, I would like your listeners to know, is if you're kidnapped, do not worry. I know it sounds strange to say not to worry, but do not worry, because the kidnappers do not want you dead.
But sometimes we've seen where those who have been kidnapped, you know, shot dead and thrown by the roadside.
Well, that happens very rarely. It happens if you put up a fight, a struggle, you might get shot. Or if the family members refuse to pay, because there's some family members who say, I don't care what you do with that man, get rid of him, but I'm not giving any money. Some people have done that. So one of the things you do is, if you're kidnapped, don't worry, because you are better off alive to the kidnapper, not dead. So they will not kill you and they will not hurt you. However, if you do certain things, for example, when they question you, if you lie to them, they will already know that you're lying. For example, if they didn't just come and pick you up at the shopping complex or at your recreational area. They followed you, they've studied you, they know how much money you're worth. They know who your brothers are, your sisters, they know everything about you. If you say that I am not worth this, they already know. They know you're lying. If you say you do not worth anything, that you have no money and your family cannot pay, they might kill you, because they think, then I'm wasting my time with you. If you say you have so much money that you can give it to them to save your life, then they will ask your family for too much money. In other words, tell them the truth. Say, I have 4 houses and 22,000 acres of land, and what do you want from me? Because they already know that.
What happens to the commuters that are plying the road on a daily basis? While they get kidnapped, we see situations where they are still with the kidnappers because of the ransom. I am talking about the safety tips you just brought in and the storyline in which you laid out. Now, how do we attach that to the commuters?
Well, The community is the one that's involved because the community usually know who the kidnapper is, or the community knows who are involved in kidnapping. Here they just don't tell the police, and they don't tell the SSS, and they don't tell the military. You need to say something. Again, remember the old, if you see something, you must say something. But there's the trust factor that doesn't come out much. But they do know who the perpetrators are.
But in case one doesn't know, what are those things that that such persons resident in this building are kidnappers? What are those platforms that one should look at?
Well, first of all, kidnappers are ordinary people like you and I. So they do not have any distinguishing marks. They don't have a K or anything written on the face. But if you see a young boy, a young man who all of a sudden is driving a Mercedes-Benz and he's dressed to kill and he's wearing fine jewelry and he's doing, you might want to tell the SSS or the police, because that boy is involved in something, either drugs, human smuggling, or kidnapping. But if you were to say something to these people and they look into this man's background, they will see that he is into some kind of illicit trade or illicit business that is providing him with money. Usually it is kidnapping because it's the easiest way to make money besides selling drugs.
After all of this, how can the trust factor between the police and the people be improved in order to fight kidnapping?
Police community relations. The police have got to ingratiate themselves in the community. They've got to come into the community and essentially ask the community to trust them, because the community does not trust the police. There is a trust factor. The police doesn't trust the community, and the community does not trust the police. And until they come together and try to bridge that gap where the trust has been destroyed, we will still continue to have this problem. And this is one of the greatest things that the Western world is doing, police-community relations. If you don't do it, you will never establish trust, and you will never get to solve your crimes.
Police-community relations. But as well, having a police outpost, you know, in various nook and crannies of the metropolis is also something encouraging. But we don't tend to see it so prevalent in this part of the country. I don't know, but do you think if that is put in place,
well, if you have an outpost is one thing, the outpost is there, but what about outreach? See, the outpost is a building. Outreach is us coming together. So a build is like a church. The church is what? What is the church? Is it the congregation or the building? So we must come together as one. There must be outreach. Yes, an outpost is great and having police there is great, but if the police is just sitting in there, then it becomes a problem. There's nothing being done. The people must go to the police and the police must go to the people. We must meet and we must establish trust where we can work together. If we can do that, police and community working together, crimes will be solved, kidnappers will be caught, drug pushers will be eradicated. Well, not totally, but you will be in control. Yeah, to a large extent, because the community knows everything, and the police need the help of the community.
Thank you very much, I must say, Doctor, for giving us some of the safety measures we need to also put in check and be safe. Thank you for coming on the show.
And you too. And you look lovely this weekend when I saw you on TV.